How's everybody doing? Have we had fun conference? Come on, have we had a fun conference?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. That's what I want to hear. If you're not having fun, they're serving beer in the back. So go ahead and grab one of those. I promise our presentation is always better when you're drinking.
Yeah.
But Joe and I are so excited to be here. We've actually been with these guys from the beginning. We've been testing wearables for many years. It goes way back for us, and even before that, mobile devices, and just always trying to find ways to focus on that worker with the wrench in the hand. So we're going to share a little bit about our journey today, but we want to give you also insight to the connected job site. But before I start, I always like to show what my office looks like. This is my office. There's no desks, there's no chairs, there's only challenges. And that is why wearables have such a bright future in construction. Now, Joe and I have built buildings all across Texas for a number of years. We are passionate builders. I mentioned earlier, just like this one, big, small, complex, hospitals, data centers, so much information to access when you're deskless. And we've always focused on guys like this. Guys that are out in the middle of nowhere, in the field. Sometimes it's a grass field, sometimes it's a solar farm, sometimes it's a wind farm, and they have sometimes not even connectivity. Or when they're walking through the building and they're trying to show what this is going to look like. This is where our passion has been. And we've tested a variety of different wearables for years now. Our journey was very similar to most of y'all. We started with Google Glass. We submitted our 15-second video, and we got about 4 pair that we started implementing and actually getting our drawings on there and task management. We ran into many of the issues that you guys did with battery life and the device being able to hear us and overheating. But the future's still bright. We know that this is the future of where we're going. We tested other devices in the field. A lot of these, you guys know, a lot of these are even consumer, right? We're buying them off the shelf. The point is, you've even probably heard of some of these devices. Early on, testing some of the prototypes, some of the evolutions of the prototypes, some that we're really excited about today, and then some we've even hacked together ourselves. Yeah, I made a pretty good tripod that day. And we were talking about exosuits earlier and hardware. And this is the Exobionics, is the vest I was explaining to you guys with the electrician can tie. Unbelievable augmentation and ultimate wearable. And this is the zero-G arm of how we can actually bridge people into wearing an exosuit. Let's just augment a scissor lift with a bionic arm. So we actually brought one at the last EWTS. And then, of course, other technologies are infiltrating and starting to merge with these wearable devices that we're so passionate about. And workflows that we're doing are now being augmented and on steroids in ways we've ever seen. Being able to visualize through a heads-up display a thermal image of a roof and see where the building could be leaking. This is a product that's blowing us away right now, HoloLive. This is, if you have a 3D model and you want to geolocate it to your real world and be able to walk through it with HoloLens, unbelievable. Click of a button, go right from Revit straight to the field. This is one that we're super stoked about. But this has been our journey. And for years, Joe and I have been trying to connect the worker to the information. And the information is documentation. It's their equipment. It's the people around them on the job. It's their material. So our vision, this is a shared industry vision, hopefully, for the construction industry, but it's to connect everyone to the information at hand now. So Joe and I took it upon ourselves to take a step back and say, why aren't some of these implementations working? And what we were running into were things like we would put Google Glass in the field, but the device wouldn't know where it was. It had no context. It didn't know that there was another device 10 feet away from it. It didn't know that whenever I walked into this room, instead of having to sort through 10,000 documents, just give me the 5 documents that relate to this location. So we took a step back and we said, okay, we can put all the devices that we want in the construction field, but how do we manage those devices? How do we visualize it? How do we gain insights and become better builders? Builders are optimistic people. You might think that we're not. You might think that we're just some rugged guys that are out there just turning a wrench, but we're very optimistic because it's challenging building these buildings. Very challenging. And when we go to the next job, we say, well, that one's going to be better. We're not going to have any issues on that one. Who are we kidding? We will. We have to gain insights. We have to be able to track and evolve and actually learn from our mistakes. So Joe and I took it upon ourselves to actually build a platform that we launched last week, and it is a mapping engine for construction. It's where we can visualize all of this information, and we call it Project Atlas. So you guys, hopefully, this is our baby. We've been working on it for 3 years, and you're one of the first to see it. So hopefully you'll come up to us afterwards and give us some honest feedback. But I'll let Joe talk a little bit about what Project Atlas is.
Yeah, so as Todd mentioned, Project Atlas is a mapping engine for the AEC and construction industry. And really what I want you to think about is that Project Atlas is Google Maps for construction. So just like you'd layer information in Google Maps, what's the traffic outside right now, or to see a satellite image of a location before you get there, we layer the same kinds of information inside Project Atlas. And so in this room, we might want to know, what the mechanical systems are that are here, where a pipe is going. And so we can layer that information on top of the floor plan and see that. Just like a search engine that you use on your phone for searching the internet, we wanted search to be a powerful part of Project Atlas. And so being able to quickly find information, have it show you where that information is located on a floor plan and take you right to it. But that's just the foundation level of what we're trying to build. As Todd mentioned, for us, the map is the bottom layer, and we want to put as much data and information as we can on top of that. So data that's collected from these wearable devices, from cell phone pictures to drone imagery, much in the same way you'd click on a restaurant and find out information about its hours or when it's busy. We want you to do the same thing with a piece of hardware or a door or equipment. Click on that information. See the specification, the diagram for that door.
Everything in our industry is tied to a location. I don't know, I can't speak for y'all's industry, but I know that in construction, everything has a place that's going to be installed in one place. And for years, we've always organized our information in physical folder cabinets, file cabinets. And all we've done is digitize that file cabinet in a folder structure. What we aim to do with Project Atlas is put the information back in its place. The place that you would, when you're walking down the street and you want to check out the information on a restaurant, you're going to open up your mapping engine, whatever you like, Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, whatever it may be, Bing, and you're going to click on that and you're going to learn information about that. Imagine having that with a door. Imagine having that with a handrail, wanting to know the manufacturer, or a light. I need to replace this. So this has been our passion of putting the information back in its place. And when I said we took a step back, this was the foundation we needed, that now when we start loading information and data on top, live data. And I'm going to show you a specific example, a project that Rogers O'Brien is using right now with Project Atlas. So right now, I'm a project manager, I'm on my project, and I want to just check in on my project. So notice it's geolocated, real-world coordinates. I can turn on layers just like you'd overlay traffic or weather patterns on top of a base map, but in this case, we're overlaying the latest drone imagery. And now we're able to start seeing the live data that's happening on my project. So we can see issues that are being tracked. We can see any type of progress notes or reports that are happening on the project. But I also might want to see some activity, some live markers. So here's my guys on site and my girls that are working and looking and doing their inspections and managing their trade partners. And just to be able to, let's see what Italo's perspective is on the job site right now. So just connect with him, give him a little video call, and we'll be able to see exactly what he sees through his wearable device or his mobile tablet. So this is now giving us a place that we can start collaborating with all of our data on top of the map. And as I said before, everything in construction has a location. Even that piece of equipment, that Caterpillar excavator, has a location at this moment in time. And once we're finished getting what we need as a project manager, I see that, okay, we're still excavating that southeast corner. I can come in here, I can immediately update my progress report. It doesn't live in some file cabinet. It lives where it relates to. And I have the ability to quickly search at any time what we're looking for. We're aiming, this is a bold vision, but how about Google search for your building? Google search for your construction site. We're starting with the map, but the accessibility of the data is what's most powerful. Now, being able to click in and check on Italo and see how the site is the progress of it, where it's at, is great. But Italo can't be everywhere at once. So it's nice whenever we can connect to other devices. So drones, anyone using drones in their company? Is anyone? Raise your hand if you're using drones.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're using these? You ever heard? So I know when I say drones, you're thinking of flying. Well, we've been using flying drones, but now we're even looking at robotics on the ground. And if Italo can't be everywhere at once, but I want to be able to check on a part of my building. If I have an 18-story building, that's a lot of walking. But now, we brought something fun with us today. I want to introduce Danny Rodriguez with Alive.ai, and he's going to come up here and tell us about the Alive AI platform, which we are integrating with Project Atlas. Go ahead, Danny.
All right, thank you, everybody. So I'm Daniel Rodriguez, CEO and founder of Animasoft. We're the creators of the Alive platform. It's one platform for land, air, and sea-based drones. Now, when we first
Go ahead and
started
roll
down,
that video.
Yeah, when we first started down our path with this stuff, we started down agriculture, and we kept going down these things. So, okay, how do these things apply? Where can we use them? How does it work? Then we started getting into construction, and we started saying, well, how does this work in there? And we obviously started talking about quadcopters and how this might help you. Yes, surveying over the air is great, but what about surveying indoors? What about doing it every single day? And what we stumbled across was basically a gold mine for us. We started seeing that by having these rovers inside of your buildings every single day, just with a 360 camera, we've automated the process of capturing that data for you, connecting it to tools like Project Atlas to bring it all together. But then take it a step further. We started exploring with our clients. What else can we do? Is it just 360 stuff? Or is it laser scanners? Maybe using a BLK 360, capture the laser scans every single day. Do comparisons against those laser scans and 360 scans with your BIM models. Check it out, what's going on. Even taking it a step further and saying, you know what, how can we automate this? How can we make it so people don't need to necessarily be in the actual trenches looking at this every single day?
Mind-blowing. Sorry to interrupt you. It can go upstairs. Go ahead, Danny.
It goes downstairs too, by the way.
Go downstairs. Yeah.
This is obviously one of our demo units here that we use. We take it out all over the country. We test it out. We demo it. We show it off. It's always kludged up like a Frankenstein with different things that we put on it. Yesterday, I had a BLK on top of it. And the really great thing is being able to have these things going through your job sites every single day. Now, the use cases are very simple. Imagine your superintendents today might be managing 1, 5, 10 floors, whatever it is, and he has to walk through these things every single day. Regardless if you're wearing wearables or you're having any type of other thing, it's still a lengthy process for him to do. Whereas when you have these things out in the field, you crank them up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when everyone's gone for the day, let that thing run for 8 hours, wake up in the morning, and now you have all the specs, all the stats, everything that you need for your work type that you've done for yesterday. You start adding things like computer vision, machine learning, combining it with Fitbits for construction to know where people are and doing things. You can start automating how long you've taken to do something. What's the progress of it? Did we do it right or not? What's my report? It's more of an active approach to doing it without needing the people there. The second thing about it is it's giving you all this data so that you can expose this information to everybody else. So right now, do the architects always get out to go in the field? Do the engineers get to see this stuff, or is it just the superintendent? Well, now this data is exposed, brought up to life, and you show it to everybody else. Now, at the end of the day, what does all this mean? So this is all cool stuff, it's automating. Where is it leading towards, right? Well, think about it. If we can now automate inspections and start doing this with computer vision, take it all the way down to the punch list, what happens when we start including payments, making it faster, start introducing things like the blockchain? And that's it, really.
Yeah, so the reason why we wanted to bring Danny with us is because to give you the full aspect of the connected job site, we of course can connect our wearables, our mobile devices, our information, our documentation, But we want to open your imagination to what else are we going to want to connect to?
Yeah.
What else? This little guy right here, he doesn't eat, he doesn't sleep. He can constantly navigate the project. You want to peek in on your project? You have your tour guide ready and available. And also, I can't tell you how much value it would provide to me if I was a superintendent and I came in the next morning and I had a report on my desk that I could immediately start having actionable insights with. So start opening your mind to what else. When we think of wearables, it's not just the wearables that are touching us, it's wearables, what are we doing with them? What are we connecting to, and what data and insights are we drawing from? And this was a great example and one that we're really excited about for our industry. But I challenge you to take some inspiration from this and see what it could do for your industry. So anything else you want to learn more about Project Atlas, it's projectatlas.com, alive.ai, and we're just beginning this exciting journey on the connected job site. We'd love to talk more about it with you afterwards, and we do have time for questions. We want them. Let's open that up now. Thank you for your time.
As far as controlling who has access, can you segment Project Atlas so that only, let's say, people of a certain, skill level or security clearance can see certain things?
Absolutely. There is permissioning built in. We had to build that but just because of the way that we communicate on job sites today. We have different levels of information that we organize based on your role on the project. Any other questions? One down here.
Hey guys, Todd Hart from Gray Barn out of St. Louis. I'm curious about the bot there. Is that an autonomous, like a fully autonomous bot? Or I noticed a guy, it looked like a controller with maybe a Panasonic laptop.
Yeah, it's both actually. So our software is what turns basically any one of these types of drones into an autonomous vehicle. So we have these sensors installed on it, and from that we task it. So what you saw in the video was an operator that was actually programming it. So the idea of programming one of these things is as simple as upload your site plan for your building. We set some ground control points like specific GPS coordinates, and then we set the scale. And after that, this little sucker here is able to go through the job site autonomously on a pre-planned route that you've actually provided. We've even taken it a step further where we can say, we can map that back and geolocate where it was inside of your building, even though we don't have GPS.
What's your plan with Project Atlas? Is Rogers O'Brien going to be selling it, or?
It is a separate entity, actually. It launched last week on both app stores, and it is a separate entity, and Rogers O'Brien has a minority interest in that.
Yeah, they helped incubate the software from inside of RO, and now it's been.
It was fantastic. We had a constant feedback loop with all the superintendents in the field the last 3 years as we've been developing it. We were very blessed, and it was a unique experience to where it was a very entrepreneurial ship, and originally an idea that was starting out of pure necessity at Rogers O'Brien, and then a realization that this is more of an industry idea than one company.
Did you guys hire and bring in talent, or did you work with third parties?
Yeah, we have full development staff in-house.
Yeah, the first thing we did with our software developers was take them to a construction
sites. We put them out on site in the trenches and blew their mind. No, it's great though. They've adapted to it. They've learned our lingo even.
Yeah, James, what do you work? So estimating is obviously a huge part of the construction process.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have any future plans to use all the data you collect to help streamline your estimation processes?
Absolutely. The data collection is, we would love to just make this free for every project and be able to just be a data company, and maybe one day we can achieve that. The beauty of that is having everyone create the data on the map, it automatically is doing that. So yes, I think down the road, initially that's not our target focus, estimation. We had a company the other day said, We have a measurement tool. They said, well, we want these added features, and we, of course, had to be honest with them and said that's not where we're beginning, but hopefully one day we can provide some.
Yeah, the one nice thing about the mapping platform, though, is that everything is true scale. It's real size. It's not paper, paper-based anymore, so everything's its actual size.
And the largest we didn't hit on is just usability. The training at Rogers O'Brien has been little to none. These guys and girls, they know how to use. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Apple. They've trained our users for us. They've leave their job site and they navigate to their kids' soccer game on the weekend or their favorite bar down the street. So location-based thinking is a big plus when it comes to intuitiveness and usability.
Chris Van Valkenburg with the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. We're a repair and maintenance facility. We deal a lot with an ever-changing work site as well. I like the idea of this, the drones that go through and inspect. But from, I think, a construction standpoint, you probably have more value in recording, pictorial content. How would you where are you in the phase of creating actionable data that you can actually status the progress that's been done and correlate that to where you are in your project schedule? Because if you come in, you have 10 floors of scanned pictures, how do you get any value out of that, right?
Absolutely.
Day, right?
Yeah, I think you're on the right track, and that's the vision we have, is we want that report that I'm talking about that the superintendent has on his desk or in his email. It was generated out of machine learning from being able to use dynamic object recognition to understand this was here 2 days ago, this isn't here now, or this wasn't here and this is here now. We're not there yet. We're not even close to there yet. But we are at the point right now where we're training and we're actually collecting the data, the imagery, and that's the first step. We're actually working with a couple other companies in using the TensorFlow algorithm that Google has released so graciously to the world. To do exactly that. So more to come on machine learning. And Danny, you can add.
Yeah, I'd like to add something there as well. And we are doing different types of pilots and rolling this out with these rovers. Some of them are just 360. Some of them are 360 with laser scanning and having environmental sensors. Whereas some of them, like for the solar panel farms and the wind farms, we're actually working a little bit more in the sense of, okay, let's represent where we are, progress through the process, use the computer vision techniques that we do use already, and combine it to actual models of what it's supposed to be. That's actually in process today. Where I'd like to see the internals, when you're actually building just a standard building, is to do the same thing. Start doing that, start moving towards there. But that's step by step, which is why we started with the 360, then the laser scanning, and then see where else it goes. On some of our clients' job sites, we've actually broken it down through different phases of the construction to see, okay, let's pick 3 things for each phase and add those. Because with computer vision, if you train it to look for an orange, it might find a basketball and say, that's a basketball, no, it's an orange. So those are, there's some of those little hurdles we're getting through now.
So is the roadmap intent to capture the decision-making process and the change process so that at the end you have some kind of as-built situation?
That's definitely a piece of it. That's a piece of the vision for sure. As I was saying before, we go from building to building and we're not learning from our mistakes well enough. So yes, that's a vital piece.
It's also learning about it in the moment when it's happening. And that's one of the things that location-based filtering can give us is our guys have to make a decision very quickly and they don't have time to kind of look through a lot of information. And so if we can kind of present them with the information that we think they need at that moment, based on what phase they're in, where they're standing, that sort of thing, give them that insight right at that moment, not, once the job is already completed.
Proactively.
And so currently in this status, when do you start putting a project when do you start? During the design stages? When do you put it in?
We've loaded projects in all different phases. We've loaded when it was pure conception of just some simple mock-ups inside AutoCAD. We've done it whenever the project's breaking ground. We've done it whenever the project's about to close out and they want to use it for punch lists.
So what happens to the notes and stuff when you have to replenish that data again?
Well, that all stays there. Everything's tied to a GPS location, all your notes, all your information. And so if If you need to refresh your design, backgrounds, those can happen kind of underneath all that.
But it's tied to elements, right? That might or might not stay in the project.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's tied to location specifically, an XY coordinate on the.
Think of it as a layer on top. So we do have versioning of the map. I think what you're speaking to is if the designer changes the floor
Right,
plan.
right.
We actually have a really cool feature where you can go back in time and see the map change based on the version releases.
Yeah, we save all that history.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.